Deuteronomy 4. Now listen, Israel, listen carefully to the rules and regulations that I am teaching you to follow, so that you may live and enter and take possession of the land that God, the God of your fathers, is giving to you. Don't add a word to what I command you, and don't remove a word from it. Keep the commands from God, your God, that I am commanding you. You saw with your own eyes what God did to Baal Peor, how God destroyed from among you every man who joined in the Baal Peor orgies. But you, the ones who held tight to God, your God, are alive and well, every one of you today. Pay attention. I am teaching you the rules and regulations that God commanded me, so that you may live by them in the land you are entering to take ownership. Keep them, practice them. You'll become wise and understanding. When people hear and see what's going on, they'll say, "What a great nation, so wise, so understanding. We've never seen anything like it." Yes, what other nations has gods that are intimate with them the way God, our God, is with us? Always ready to listen to us. And what other great nations has rules and regulations as good and fair as this regulation? That I'm sitting before you today. Just make sure you stay alert. Keep close watch over yourselves. Don't forget anything of what you've seen. Don't let your heart wander off. Stay vigilant as long as you live. Teach what you've seen and heard to your children and grandchildren. The day when you stood before God, your God, at Horeb, God said to me, "Assemble the people in my presence to listen to my words, so that they will learn to fear me in a holy fear for as long as they live on the land. And then they will teach you the same thing, same words to your children." You gathered, you stood in the shadow of the mountain. The mountain was ablaze with fire, blazing high into your very heart of the heavens. You stood in deep darkness and thick clouds. God spoke to you out of the fire. You heard the sound of the words, but you saw nothing. No form, only a voice. He announced his covenant in 10 words, by which he commanded you to live. He is Then he wrote them down on 2 slabs of stone. And God commanded me at the time to teach you the rules and regulations that you are to live by in the land which you are crossing over Jordan to possess. You saw no form on that day. God spoke to you in Horeb from out of the fire. Remember that. Carefully guard yourselves so that you don't turn corrupt and make a form, carving a figure that looks male or female, or looks like a prowling animal, or flying bird, or slithering snake, or a fish in a stream. And also carefully guard yourselves so that you don't look up into the skies and see the sun and moon and stars, all the constellations in the skies, and be seduced into worshiping and serving them. God sent them out for everybody's benefit everywhere. But God took you right out of the iron furnace, out of Egypt, to become the people of His inheritance. And that's what you are this very day. But God was angry with me because of you and the things you said. He swore that I'd never cross into Jordan, never get to enter the good land that God, your God, is giving to you as an inheritance. This means that I am going to die here. I am not crossing Jordan. But you will cross Jordan. You will possess the good land. So stay alert. Don't for a minute forget the covenant which God, your God, made with you. And don't take up with any carved images, no forms of any kind. God, your God, issued clear commandments on that. God, your God, is not to be drifted with. He's a consuming fire, a jealous God. When the time comes that you have children and grandchildren, put on years and start taking things for granted. If you then become corrupt and make any carved images, no matter what their form, by doing that, it's sheer evil in God's eyes and provoking His anger. I will tell you right now, the heavens and earth as witnesses that it will be all over for you. You'll be kicked off the land that you're about to cross over the Jordan to possess. Believe me, you'll have a very short stay there. You'll be ruined, completely ruined. God will shatter you far and wide. A few of you will survive here and there in the nations where God will drive you. There you can worship your homemade gods to your heart's content, your wonderful gods of wood and stone that can't see or hear or eat or smell. But even there, if you seek God, your God, you'll be able to find yourself, if you're serious, looking for Him with your whole heart and soul. When trouble comes and all these awful things happen to you in your future days, you will come back to God, your God, and listen obediently to what He has to say. God, your God, is above all a compassionate God. In the end, He will not abandon you. He won't bring you to ruin. He won't forget the covenant with your ancestors, which He swore to them. Ask questions. Find out what has been going on all these years before you were born. From the day God created man and woman on the earth, and from the horizon in the east to the horizon in the west, as far back as you can imagine, and as far away as you can imagine. As great as things as this ever happened? Has anyone ever heard of such a thing? Has a people ever heard, as you did, a God speaking out of the middle of the fire and lived to tell the story? 34. Or has a good God tried to select Himself a nation from within a nation, using trials, miracles, and war, putting His strong hand in it, reaching His long arm out, a spectacular, awesome, and staggering, staging the way God, your God, did it for you in Egypt, while you stood right there and watched. 35 through 38. You were shown all this so that you will know that God is well. God, He is the only God there is. He's it. He made it possible for you to hear his voice out of heaven to discipline you. Down on earth, he showed you the big fire again, and you heard the words this time out of the fire. He loved your ancestors and chose to work with their children. He personally and powerfully brought you out of Egypt in order to displace bigger and stronger and older nations with you, bringing you out of and turning the land over to you as an inheritance. And now it's happening this very day. 39 and 40. Know this well, then take it to heart right now. God is in heaven above. God is on earth below. He is the only God there is. Obediently live by his rules and commands, which I am giving you today, so that you will live well and your children after you. Oh, you'll live a long time in the land that God, your God, is giving you. 41 and 42. Then Moses set aside 3 towns in the country on the east side of Jordan, to which someone who had understandingly killed a person could flee. Unintentionally killed a person could flee and find refuge. If the murder was unintentional and there was no history of bad blood, the murderer could flee to one of these cities and save his life. 43. Bazar in the wilderness, on the tableland, for the Reubenites, Romath in Gilead for the Galileites, and Golan for Bashan, for the Mantiles. 44 through 49. This is the revelation that God presented to the people of Israel. These are the testimonies, the rules, the regulations Moses spoke to the people of Israel after their exodus from Egypt and arrived on the east side of Jordan in the valley near Baal Peor. It was the country of Zion, king of Amorites, who ruled from Heshbon. Moses and the people of Israel fought and beat him after they left Egypt. And took his land. They also took the land of Og, king of Bashan. The 2 Ammonite kings held the country on the east of Jordan from Or on the bank of the brook Ammon, as far north as Mount Sion, that Mount Hermon, all the Abra, plain east of the Jordan, and as far as south as the Sea of Arnosh, the Dead Sea, beneath the slopes of Mount Peor. Thank you for listening to this chapter, and God bless.